Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into what we're treating as a high-stakes intelligence dossier to unpack a massive, almost unbelievable security breach. We are looking at a case file here that literally reads like a summer Hollywood thriller, but it details this sprawling conspiracy involving treason at the absolute highest levels, deeply compromised witness protection protocols, and the black market sale of some insanely high-tech weaponry. It's a really complex web, but we're going to untangle the whole thing right here. Here is our game plan for this debrief. 1. Enter the eraser. 2. The Cyrez Corporation's secret. 3. Conspiracy and betrayal. And 4. The Baltimore Docks showdown. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Enter the eraser. U.S. Marshal John Kruger and the WITSEC Protocol. So, to really wrap our heads around how this entire crisis was managed, we first need to understand the guy standing right at the center of the storm. Our primary asset here is John Kruger, an elite operative in the Witness Protection Program. And his methodology? Well, he doesn't just hide people. He executes this wild three-step illusion known as erasure. Step 1 involves securing a decoy corpse straight from a morgue. Step 2 requires staging a really convincing, violent scene to leave irrefutable evidence behind. And then finally, Step 3 is total relocation with a brand new identity. He is literally killing off their past to guarantee their future. When Kruger tells a protected asset, "Smile, you've just been erased," he is absolutely not joking around. It's a definitive statement of reality. Because once this specialized process is complete, that old life, it's permanently gone. There's no going back, no calling up old friends, no loose ends whatsoever. It requires an extreme level of sacrifice from the witness, sure, but it guarantees absolute safety. Well, at least it does when the system isn't completely compromised from the inside. Moving on to Section 2, the Cyrez Corporation's secret, high-tech treason and the whistleblower. Okay, so the threat at the center of this scandal isn't just your standard political leak. We are talking about a highly classified prototype weapon that pretty much defies conventional physics. We're talking about the EM railgun. This thing is an electromagnetic pulse weapon that fires aluminum rounds at, get this, nearly the speed of light. Now, railguns have obviously been researched for massive battleships, but Cyrez, a defense contractor, successfully scaled the technology down into a compact, hypervelocity assault rifle. It is, quite simply, the most powerful infantry weapon on Earth. And officially, it's not even supposed to exist. The real catalyst for this whole crisis is Lee Cullen, a senior executive at Cyrez. Things hit the fan when Lee confronts her boss, William Donahue. She quickly realizes that Donahue and his backers are perfectly willing to sell these devastating weapons to the highest bidder on the international black market, completely blowing off national security. When Donahue tries to justify it by saying they're just finding a buyer for things that kill people, Lee's response totally captures the shock of a civilian discovering the dark underbelly of the military-industrial complex. She tells him she didn't know treason was part of the corporate strategy. Which brings us to Section 3, Conspiracy and Betrayal, the WITSEC mole and the frame-up. So when Lee agrees to wear a wire, she thinks she's going to be safe in federal hands. But instead, she steps right into a deeply compromised system. And man, this is not a slow burn. It escalates incredibly fast. Right after Lee pulls off this vault sting to secure the evidence, her cover is completely blown when her boss commits suicide right in front of her. Cyrez immediately responds by sending hitmen to her house, and they are armed with the very EM railgun she just exposed. This forces Kruger to rip her out of the standard federal system entirely and hide her completely off-grid in Chinatown. Here, we can clearly see the two opposing sides of WITSEC battling it out. On one side, you have Kruger's protocol, where his ultimate loyalty is to the witness's safety, even if that means operating completely alone and defying orders. And then you contrast that with the mole, a high-ranking official who is actively executing protected witnesses for profit, using federal resources to do it and framing honest agents just to cover their own tracks. Because Kruger straight up refuses to hand Lee over to this mole, he becomes the prime target. He gets framed for the cold-blooded murder of his own fellow agents. A massive, citywide federal all-points bulletin is put out against him. So, cut off from all federal backup, Kruger and Lee are on the run. Their absolutely only option to clear their names and stop this weapon sale is to pull off a desperate, insanely dangerous hack straight back into the heavily fortified Cyrez corporate mainframe. And they only managed to pull this off by using a hidden backdoor code left behind by her deceased boss. The hack actually works, and what they uncover is a massive smoking gun. $52 million. This is an offshore Union Bank Swiss deposit, and it originates from a major player in the Russian mafia. a buyer named Sergei Ivanovich Petrosky, who is notoriously known for arming international terrorists. But honestly, even more terrifying than the money is the payload connected to it. 1,000. 1,000 units of the EM railgun are scheduled for a midnight delivery. Think about that for a second. If 1,000 of these hypervelocity pulse weapons make it into the hands of international terrorists, it literally shifts the balance of global power. The stakes here have officially escalated from a corporate cover-up to an imminent global security crisis. And that takes us to Section 4, the Baltimore Docks Showdown, intercepting the midnight shipment. With the clock ticking right down toward midnight, Kruger and Lee have to intercept this massive arms transfer at the docks, and they are entirely on their own. The tactical setup here is just, well, it's brilliant, but also totally absurd. The threat is a corrupt undersecretary, the Russian mafia, and heavily armed mercenaries with futuristic railguns. To defend against that, Kruger coordinates this improvised ragtag alliance, himself, a formerly protected mobster, his cousin Tony Two-Toes, and a crew of fiercely loyal local dock union workers. It's literally federal agents and Russian mercenaries going head-to-head with mobsters and dock workers. So, following this incredibly chaotic and highly destructive shootout that actually does stop the shipment, the conspirators are finally cornered and indicted. But here is the crazy part. Even in handcuffs, they are completely unrepentant. Undersecretary Harper arrogantly tells them he's simply going to spin doctor his high treason as an act of patriotism. He is fully 100% confident they will manipulate the impending congressional hearings and just escape justice entirely. And that forces us to ask a pretty terrifying question, doesn't it? I mean, when the actual architects of a conspiracy hold the highest offices of power and totally control the legal narrative, what is the nature of true justice? Can a compromised legal system ever really effectively prosecute its own commanders? Well, ultimately, John Kruger decides to bypass that whole compromised system entirely. As these corrupt officials sit comfortably in their limousine, literally celebrating their impending legal victory, they get one final phone call delivering Kruger's signature line, "You've just been erased." Moments later, their vehicle gets trapped on a train track and is utterly obliterated. It's a really dark extrajudicial solution for when the justice system completely fails, and it leaves us with one final provocative thought to chew on. When the very institutions we rely on to protect us become the actual threat, who exactly is left to draw the line? Keep that in mind as you process everything we've unpacked here today.
Hello guys, thank you for watching my video and please subscribe. Hey YouTube, my short reel I am participate, not mask content. This last reel I am participate. Or hey guys, please subscribe. Thank you for